such a passion to be out doing a grazing system, watching the cows go out every day to a different paddock and just seeing them happy and healthy is absolutely so rewarding. And to watch them do so well, it's amazing to have an office like we do. The views, the scenery is just something completely different. The spring cows at least 10, 11 months of the year, and we definitely sort of achieve that with the autumn herd. So we're big on keeping them out grazing, out in the pasture, and not housing them for longer than they need to. So it's only during bad weather months or issues with weather conditions that they do come in, but other than that they stay out for as long as possible.
And the best thing about your office? The view, I guess, is it?
It's got to be the view and the view of happy cows as well.
Why would you want to become a herdsman at Quicke's or a farm that produces incredible cheese?
If you've got a dream and a passion for farming, chase it. Don't be afraid of the hard work or the long hours, because seeing happy, healthy cows is so rewarding, and watching them progress and grow from calves into milking, lactating animals is something special. And it's always a special one if you get one that you think is struggling a little bit and you get them to achieve the goals and proceed with a happy, healthy life. It's a fantastic achievement, and it's a great sense of feeling to be able to do that. So it's a massive goal to.
And I guess that's part of the love of being a herdsman, is being able to have that relationship with all of them and kind of seeing and understanding their needs and then nurturing the best out of them.
Absolutely. It's each one of them is slightly different. You get to see the different characters and personalities in them, and just the hierarchy itself and how it works. It's a fantastic thing how they interact with humans and also between themselves. It's a really fascinating thing.
So through the year, as the grass changes and stuff, are you having to watch that all very closely and sort of study it, and how do you do it?
Wow, yeah. I mean, this is a great year for you to be asking us this question, because it's been wild. We had this really dry time last year, and then we've had this really wet time this year, and we're now is as good a time as any to really be making sure that we are doing our, looking at the biodiversity in our fields, having mixed what we call swards, which is lots of different plants in our fields that help us be resilient with all of these crazy weather patterns that we see, and also do things like add goodness back into the soil, also provide a varied diet for our cows.
Yeah, because sustainability is an absolute daily watchword for you, isn't it? Tell us about it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of farmers have to farm. If we want to farm for a long time, we have to farm sustainably. And so I think it's something we are classically very bad at talking about and letting people know that we're doing all of these incredible things. But the reality is we're doing them. So I love the opportunity to talk about some of the things that we're doing. Taking you back to the 1880s, we reforested a large part of our farm. Half of the land of our farm is woodland, and we've maintained that woodland to the present day, which obviously does an enormous amount for our pollinators, insects, other animals, small mammals, and helps with the biodiversity of our farm, as well as obviously helping us to sequester some of our carbon. And I think that, along with we're doing a huge program right now with hedgerows, which create this kind of like motorway, highway network for wildlife across the whole farm, enabling them to freely move right across the farm again. And as farmers, we reap the benefits of their pollination services and other amazing things that they give us.
The People's Choice at the Great British and Irish Cheddar Challenge tonight, chosen by you. And thank you very much, everybody, for taking part and for voting. The People's Choice winner is Quicke's Cheddar.
So happy to have won the People's Choice, which is very important to us. So really, really, really happy.
This land does not belong to us. We are only custodians of this incredible earth. If we care for the soil, it will provide a harvest. It is time to give back to the earth what has been taken. This land is on loan as life is given to us. This land does not belong to us. Let us protect her and only take what is needed. As we are blessed to have great cheese and crops that feed us. From this land that does not belong to us.
Reforestation is a huge topic, and I think there's a lot of pressure on farmers obviously to produce a lot, whatever it is that you produce, whatever the commodity is that you produce. And what that doesn't give a lot of space for right now in the current, where we are right now is setting land aside for reforestation. And I think we were quite lucky that in the late 1800s there was a lot of tree planting that happened on the farm. That means that half of our farm area is woodland, and you can see loads of trees in the distance. And if you zoom out on a map and look at our farm, it's got sort of similar tree cover to the neighbouring national park Dartmoor in areas, and so it's really and it creates this amazing environment for birds, insects, mammals to coexist with our farming methods, so to create this rich biodiversity that wouldn't be possible if we didn't have, not only obviously you've got the forest or the woodland, but the different habitats that exist within the farm that make space and make way for the other species. And I think that's really important for a start. It's more resilient and robust to have both diversity of species, but also genetic diversity that really occurs when you avoid creating islands with your farm. What I see is really like our soil health has improved so much with all of the real care that we had from Jonathan about, or that we will hear from Jonathan about the way that we're choosing plants for what we're planting on the grazing fields, and when we're choosing to put the cows out. And actually, it's also important to talk about when we're not choosing to put the cows out.
And why do you do that?
So because when the soil is really wet and their hooves, they chew up the soil, then you get and then it rains and the topsoil washes off. And you can't have that, and you can't have that for loads of reasons. One, because you can't have it going into the waterways, because it will pollute the waterways. You absolutely can't do that as a farmer, or with any good conscience. But also, you want to look after your cows and make sure that their soil, their health is good, and their udder health is good.
Yes.
And there is obviously, cows are fine most of the time with enormous mud, much more mud than humans are happy having around them. But actually, it's really about the maintaining soil health, keeping that soil organic matter really high. So the first year that you turn a field into pasture, you'll get a certain productivity and a certain biodiversity. But as you let it go, let it continue as pasture over time, it matures. as so that you get all of you get more diversity, more established invertebrates. There's lots of really good for looking after. There's lots of really good arguments for establishing and looking after your pasture. So what I would love is for people to have an even better understanding of where, how is cheese made, or how is milk produced, what goes into that. We've created these cities are built for human living, and there's, in many ways, cities are really convenient and wonderful and the place that people want to be. But what that means is that naturally there's a separation between where food is made and where people live and spend their daily lives. And I think, although I don't think it's really there's a fault at play, I think that's the natural consequence of urbanization. It's just a separation.
Let's have a quick look around here. Look at these cheeses, aren't they immense? Look behind me, look at those. Incredible stuff, incredible stuff. Here's Jane Quicke. Jane Quicke is ironing the cheese.
That's like a really nice pour. My hands are tiny and always very cold. So crunch it later, say crunch it in my hands.
So why are you pushing the cheese in your hand like that?
Yeah, so when we're grading, we look at how the curd breaks down. With heat and pressure, and what we're looking for is for it to, how quickly it goes into a kind of a pulp, whether it's sticky, how soft or hard or waxy, or just we're noticing things about the texture in our hands. We warm it up because obviously it's a bit colder in here. We give it a smell.
For me, the most important element of sustainability is first and foremost to be financially sustainable. So we've adopted quite a lot of new techniques and some new species of crops to grow, not crops but varieties to grow. So if I can talk about the arable first, because really the arable is driving that's an area we've experimented on more, because obviously we've got more flexibility, because it doesn't directly impact what the cows are eating and on a daily basis, and therefore the milk quality, etc. So we've experimented with changing our rotation to incorporate red clover. So we grow red clover silage as an arable break, and that's seen us a really good improvement on our data for our organic soil matter content. And we've also brought in we're looking at bi-cropping this year to grow homegrown proteins and cereals together that ultimately we could feed the cows. We're just doing a field of bi-cropped beans and oats this year. But we've taken confidence from what we've seen on the arable platform with the incorporation of FYM. We're using some min tillage or non-inversion tillage this year. And actually that we did some last year as well. And that led us to putting all our reseeds in this year on the arable, on the on the dairy platform for the cows,
Yeah.
in a minimum tillage basis. And they've grown away really well. We got them in the ground quicker than we did with a ploughing operation. And they were sown this summer and they're ready for a cut now before the autumn, which is excellent. And in those varieties, we've incorporated white clover, what we've learnt from the red clover, but also plantain and bonnet, which is a herb, alongside the Italian and perennial ryegrass. So the idea with that is to extend the window, the grazing window, when you're through drought resistance, because we've got different length tap roots, and also because we've got those different length tap roots, it improves the soil structure. And if we can make part of sustainability by improving our soil by X amount, meaning that another farmer in East Anglia who hasn't got the access to livestock, etc., doesn't have to, then actually UK farming as a whole and Europe-wide, we've improved, haven't we? So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's that, and I think that's a bigger part of sustainability. Really, is pushing, optimising what you can do. A lot of the varieties that we've got. I mean, we're stood in a diverse sward now, and you know, if we had red clover buds and that in here as well, you know, we'd probably be seeing bee activity and one thing and another. You know, with the dung pats come dung beetles, and there's lots of invertebrates, and you know, we do things on the estate to enhance that. You know, we've got beetle banks, we've got margins, and we've got things like that. That again, it's that offset of you have to monetize everything. So if the crops that you're trying to grow to feed the cows that have an environmental benefit but are not sustainable financially, you know, you have to edge in that direction. You have to balance it throughout. But actually, to answer your question, we are edging in that direction because, you know, we look around here, we've got clovers, we've got dandelions, we've got lots of different things growing, and we are bringing in, you know, 5 or 6 years ago, would we have been putting herbs in that we are now? Probably not. So there is an evolution, and it is moving in that direction.
Back to how it
was, and elements of how it was. You know, I think the sustainability is to take the best of conventional farming, the best of what our forefathers knew, the best of, you know, the organic farming as well, add in technology, because that's...
I think you have to embrace technology.
Got to embrace, and we are embracing technology. You know, we measure everything, and if you don't measure, you can't manage, which really, you know, I'd like you to come back in 3 or 4 years, because I'll have the data on the grassland platform that I've got on the arable platform that I can stand here and say we've improved this by X percent, or we've noticed this drop off, or
on the dairy platform.
On the dairy platform. We're just at that really early stage of data collection yet, so we've got our benchmark and starting point, but we don't know, you know, what our improvement's going to be.
So there's 2 ways that we record our effect on the climate. We do the Farm Carbon Toolkit, which is done by Dutchy, and we put our figures in, and that gives us our carbon offset for each year. And the key ones tend to be how efficient our feeding is, how much nitrogen we use, how robust our animals are, so how long lived they are, how healthy they are, and all of those we're coming below average, so we're doing very well on those, so the figures are lower than we would expect them to be. So particularly animal robustness. This year our feed efficiency has gone up quite a lot as well, so that's been really good. And although we do use nitrogen on the fields, we don't actually use as much as a lot of other farmers do.
And that's through the intervention of herbal lays, etc., that you're now incorporating.
So the springs have the herbal lays, and that sort of extends the ends of the lactation, so that we can feed them a little bit more on those. So that's always pretty good. And they're producing enough milk for the protein that they're being given, so that's a really good thing.
It's raw milk cheddar. It's made from my own cow's milk. My own cows are managed in a grass-based system. My cheddar has that lovely golden colour inside, in the body of the cheese, and that's coming from carotene from the grass. And when I got to know cheddar and got tasting it, and the intensity of flavour and the breadth of flavour, and how long it lasts and in your mouth, you know, and the texture and all, and I kind of became addicted to it myself, and you know, could eat raw milk cheddar every time. It's just a world apart from the industrial red cheddar that you get in the shop, you know.
When you work with raw milk, every day's make is almost like a new vintage of wine. The skill of the cheesemaker is being able to react and to tweak, make subtle tweaks in our make to try and keep some consistency, but even trying to get a handle on all the variables will never do it. There are so many unknown unknowns. There comes a point where you just have to give up and go, it was really good. It just came out of really good cheese. We don't know why. We'd love to know why, because we'd do it every day if we could. But yeah, that's one of the beauties of raw milk cheese making.
We farm our cows as pretty much as traditionally as I can. During the summer it's just mostly grass, and during the winter we mix up a ration to try and give them something which is going to help them to produce lots of good milk for making cheese. Through a few experiments with technology in feeding cows, I've come to the conclusion that if my nutritionist comes up with an idea and my grandfather wouldn't recognise it as something he understood, I'm not interested.
One thing I would really love is for people to, when they think of cheddar, is to consider in their minds the range of cheddar that exists and not just imagine block cheddar. Because our cheese is so human created, so it takes the time and attention of so many people, it is difficult to make lots of it.
And in those big factories, of course, they're making as much in a day maybe as we will make in a year, and they have no people there.
Farm itself we've built from scratch, so we do so many jobs around the farm. But all the heat we use for making the cheese is actually also produced by wood, so that's nothing new, because that's how it was always done many years ago. Most people would be using electricity or diesel. So we've got a water turbine that's producing the majority of the power for the farm. We also have a wind turbine on the hill, which is producing a little bit of power, but the water turbine produces most. It's raining at the moment, so all the electricity we have here at the moment is produced by the water turbine, and over the year we produce more than we actually use.
We are kind of members of our own herd. You know, human beings are part of nature. We're not separate from nature. We are not separate from the herd which we milk. We believe that the care and the love for the animals is a key component of the quality of our cheese. There's this phrase, you are what you eat. Well, in the case of cheese, it's kind of, you are what you ate, except that there's another link in it, which is the milk. And it's all connected.